Welcome, listener, to our storytelling channel. Today, we'll embark on an extraordinary journey from Jonathan Swift's classic tale, Gulliver's Travels. In this episode, we'll follow Gulliver as he encounters the tiny people of Lilliput, who, despite their size, bring as much intrigue and adventure as giants might. If you enjoy this story, please like and subscribe to our channel for more captivating tales. The story begins with Lemuel Gulliver, a skilled surgeon and seasoned sailor, setting sail aboard the Antelope for a voyage across the world. One day, the ship encounters a fierce storm, throwing them off course and smashing the vessel upon unseen rocks. Desperate and exhausted, Gulliver struggles through the waves, fighting for his life until he reaches the shore of an unknown land. Upon awakening, Gulliver finds himself immobilized. To his surprise, he cannot move his arms or legs. They're fastened tightly to the ground with what appear to be small ropes. His hair is even tied down, and he hears strange, high-pitched voices all around him. Gulliver quickly realizes something extraordinary. He is surrounded by hundreds of tiny people, each no more than 6 inches tall, dressed in elaborate miniature clothing and armed with tiny bows and arrows. As these tiny figures scramble up his chest, Gulliver lets out an astonished roar. His voice echoes, sending them stumbling backward in fright. Slowly, though, they regain their courage and advance again. One among them steps forward and calls out, "Hekina de Ghoul." Soon, more of the tiny creatures join in, echoing the phrase. Struggling against the bonds, Gulliver manages to free his left arm, but almost immediately feels dozens of tiny pricks across his skin. The Lilliputians have launched arrows at him, trying to subdue the giant they perceive him to be. Realizing that these tiny people mean him no true harm, Gulliver decides to remain still, hoping this gesture will convey his intentions. Taking the hint, the Lilliputians bring forth a small platform and hoist it up to his chest, where their leader, a dignified man in richly embroidered robes, begins speaking to Gulliver in a language he does not understand. Unable to communicate, Gulliver points to his mouth in a gesture of hunger, hoping they will understand his need for food. Recognizing his intent, the Lilliputians bring forth a feast. A vast number of tiny loaves of bread, meats, and even wines, all of which Gulliver devours eagerly. Satisfied with the meal, Gulliver allows himself to be secured onto a large wooden platform as the Lilliputians begin their journey to the capital city. Hundreds of tiny horses are harnessed to the platform, and the Lilliputians work tirelessly, transporting Gulliver through the countryside as people gather along the way to marvel at the sight. Upon reaching the capital, the Emperor of Lilliput himself appears. Surrounded by his royal court, the Emperor is a striking figure, standing taller than any of his attendants. He wears a feathered helmet and a robe embroidered with symbols of his rank. Though no bigger than a human thumb, the Emperor's manner exudes grace and authority. While the Emperor studies Gulliver with a mixture of curiosity and caution, scholars in the court begin teaching Gulliver simple words in their language. Day by day, Gulliver learns basic Lilliputian phrases and finally reaches a level of understanding sufficient to converse with his hosts. The Emperor then formally invites Gulliver to dine with him in his court. A banquet unlike any Gulliver has experienced, with hundreds of dishes spread out before him. As Gulliver becomes more familiar with the people of Lilliput, he realizes that despite their small size, they are as complex in character as any people he has ever known. The Emperor, gradually warming to Gulliver, begins to see him as a potential ally rather than a threat. Eager to express his gratitude, Gulliver offers his assistance, pledging his loyalty and suggesting that he might help the Emperor with his diplomatic troubles. One day, The emperor informs Gulliver of a conflict with the neighboring kingdom of Blefuscu, who he fears may launch an attack on Lilliput's shores. Seeing an opportunity to earn the emperor's favor, Gulliver offers to assist in the defense of Lilliput. Early the next morning, Gulliver wades into the shallow waters separating Lilliput from Blefuscu. To the astonishment of the onlookers, he grasps the anchors of the Blefuscudian navy, lifting their ships and dragging them back to the shores of Lilliput. The Lilliputians cheer in amazement as Gulliver secures the captured fleet, effectively neutralizing Blefuscu's threat. The emperor, delighted by Gulliver's victory, grants him a place of honor in Lilliput, awarding him titles and publicly celebrating his heroism. Yet as time goes on, Gulliver begins to see that the emperor's ambitions extend beyond mere defense. He wishes to conquer Blefuscu entirely and subjugate its people. Gulliver, troubled by the emperor's desire for domination, decides to remain cautious in his alliances. Though he is grateful for the hospitality shown to him, he begins to contemplate the possibility of leaving Lilliput and resuming his journey back to his homeland. And so, the story of Gulliver's adventures in Lilliput begins. A land where giants and tiny people collide, where courage and curiosity know no size, and where the politics of a miniature world mirror our own in clever ways. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more other classic stories.